Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talking Good Game. It's just finished Arsenal 2, West Ham United 0 at the Emirates as Arsenal leapfrog West Ham and go fourth in the Premier League. We're here to discuss the highlights. Before we get into that, Gonzo, how you feeling?
Disappointed. Just really disappointed with that. In all honesty, Geo, we seem to be repeating what we're doing wrong, and yeah, that's a tough one to take because I thought we were outclassed today, and normally we can stay in there because we can give it a bit of muscle and have a lot of high energy, but actually we were out muscled and outrun as well, so we were pretty much outdone in every footballing department, really, Gio. So yeah, it feels a bit crap, mate.
Normally, when I'm expecting us to not win and we don't win, I'm normally okay with it. When we got beat by Brentford earlier on in the season, I thought we'd struggle in the game. We got beat by Brentford, so it was easier to take. When something happens that you're expected, it's easier to take. That's why when you win a game you're not expected, it's perhaps a little bit more enjoyable than when you are expecting to win. I didn't think we'd win tonight. But I thought we'd make it competitive, to be honest with you. I thought we'd have actually given Arsenal something to think about. And from the first minute to last, it was too easy. It was too easy for Arsenal. There is a big incident in it that we'll discuss when we get on to it. But that's got nothing to do with the result. The scoreline is fair. Arguably it could have been worse for
Yeah,
West
flattering.
Ham
The
as well.
scoreline's flattering.
Yeah. It could have been worse. It was 2-0 Arsenal. Could have been a bit more than that, to be honest with you. Um, I'm relatively calm in a minute, but I know fine I'm going to get worked up as we go through it. But anyway, half time it was 0-0 gone. So what were you thinking at half time?
Uh, Arsenal could attack us at any time they wanted, and they could do it without concern because we didn't pose a threat. And I thought that, and not only did we not pose a threat when they had the ball at the back, which is not that much because they had such good possession, we didn't press them. We weren't pressing their centre halves to do anything quickly with the ball because they could take their time, work it through an attack, really, wherever they wanted to, which obviously in a large part was through Saka, but Martinelli obviously on the other side was also attacking a lot as well. Odegaard was seeing an awful lot of the ball, but when we had the ball, I just think they pressed us they just pressed us so much that we ended up giving the ball to poor old Diop, who ended up, hurriedly having to hoof it up the field, or even if he was sometimes closed down really rapidly by Lacazette, who was pressing really well. Then he might give it to Fabianski, who had to kick it. We all know what we think about Fabianski's kicking. So I felt they put us under an awful lot of pressure, really. And I thought their tactics were good. Actually, in many respects, I think they gave a little blueprint on what to do about West Ham because they didn't allow us to counter. So that was, I thought they were very impressive, actually, Gio. And but we had to have a certain amount of quality, and when we had the ball, we had to do something, and unfortunately, we just gave it away. We just gave it away. So I got to half time, and I was furious with our lack of passing ability, and also I felt Antonio was being really indulgent in the first half. So he'd get the ball, think, okay, this you're on our target, man. From you having the ball, we have to try and spring an attack. And he was so indulgent, he just run with the ball and dribble with it until he got dispossessed. And I found it extremely frustrating at half time. And I thought, you know what, we're lucky we got in at 0-0. Moyes is going to have to do something drastic here because, as I said before, Moyes' desire to be successful himself has surely got to supersede his loyalty to certain players and his system.
We were lucky to get at 0-0. Nothing was working for us in the first half. Absolutely nothing. They were targeting Masuaku, rightly so. It doesn't take a genius to work out. You only need to have a reasonable knowledge of football to know when you play well with this team that we had out tonight, just go for Masuaku because defensively he's not good enough. He will allow you opportunities. And I thought in the first 45 minutes, I thought they just bombarded Masuaku. Anytime we were out of possession, Lanzini and or Fernandes had to sprint 30, 40 yards to get back and help Masuaku double up on Saka. And now Saka's a wonderful player, but he's not Messi. He's not that good that you need your attacking players to just completely remove their game. We basically played with two left backs in the first half because Masuaku is that crap. He just got skinned time and time again. He was one weak point. The other weak point was up front. The geezer didn't do anything. Now, the Antonio thing, I don't know why he not come out. I just tried to ignore the Antonio thing because I'm fed up of seeing him play up front. But this is the same Antonio that we've seen against Burnley, that we've seen against Brighton for numerous games now. Antonio has been dog shit up front, and I'm sorry for that phrase. I don't want to swear too much, but he's been crap. He's been really crap. And we just played him again. He's done the same things again. And even when there's a small opportunity for him to do something good, you think, go on, do it. And like the time when he ran down the right-hand side, and you could see, I think it was Lanzini and Bowen, it might be Finazan, but Bowen and one of those two were busting an ass to get into the box. They were sprinting, head down, running full pelt to get up the pitch in the box. He just wallops it 40 yards into Ramsdale. Ramsdale was standing in his 6-yarder just with his hands out and just floated into his hands. And you could see the other two looking at him like, what are you doing? You've stood up here the whole game. You barely had much to do because we can't get the ball out of half. The time you do get it, we just need you to turn into a half-decent striker for 1 minute. He just walloped it, and then he sort of just stops and waves his arms about as if someone's done something wrong. It was him. But this is on Moyes. Antonio tonight is on David Moyes. Now, Moyes has done fantastic things for us and stuff, but tonight, I'm sorry, there's no excusing picking Antonio. I have sympathy for David Moyes playing ARSWHU. There's not much other options. Longelo is the only other option. It would have taken a serious set of cojones to play Longelo tonight. And if it got wrong, Moyes would have got murdered. I understand why David Moyes has gone with ARSWHU tonight, because while I thought he played okay at Burnley, I had reservations. The fact that Goodmanson was easy for a left back to play against. Saka, not so much. So I understand the ARSWHU inclusion. And right, I'm not going to criticise Moyes for picking ARSWHU, but picking Antonio up front again is on the manager. Do we have another striker? No. Manager and chairman decided not to buy another striker in the summer. And before they say there's none available, bollocks. Look at Southampton tonight. Broja scored again, a loan signing, minimum financial outlay, right? So there was strikers available. There was plenty of strikers available. We just didn't know of any. Now that comes down to poor recruitment, poor scouting, the manager dithering, the chairman not making enough funds available, whatever it is, or it's a combination of all those things. But whatever reason, we chose not to sign another striker in the summer, right? So from that point on, we should have had plan A, in-form Antonio up front. Fine, I accept that. What's plan B? An out-of-form Antonio up front, hoping he comes good, right? Okay, we've done plan B. What's plan C? Continue with Antonio up front, hoping that eventually he becomes plan A. He's now got 1 goal in 13 games. That is horrendous record for any Premier League striker these days. That is awful. Callum Wilson plays for Newcastle at the bottom table, better record. Tiamu Puki plays for Norwich in the relegation zone, better record than Antonio. He's probably got the worst rate in the Premier League for strikers at the minute. We're playing him again and again and again and hoping something works. Well, I don't know what you expect. I've almost got to the point I feel sorry for Antonio. The guy's out of form for whatever reason. Is he tired? He's got a minor injury or something. I don't know. He's out of form. Get him out the firing line. Stop putting him up there. He's almost suffering. I almost want to put my arm around Antonio. It's not your fault, mate, because he is trying. I think Antonio's trying. This is the worst thing. If he wasn't trying, it would be easy because you'd say, well, he's not bothering his arse, get him off the pitch, but he is actually trying. I thought he put in a decent enough shift at right back, funnily enough. I thought he played okay right back tonight. But up front, I'm sorry, but the manager has to take responsibility for this because you've got a player that you signed for 27 million sat on the bench. We didn't see him at all tonight. Yeah. When are you going to call on him? You've got Ben Rama as well, a player that we signed for 25 million, also on the bench. Try something. We had Bowen up front in the second half. So there is alternatives. Moyes knows there's alternatives to striker Antonio. I thought we looked more dangerous with Bowen up front than we did with Antonio. But this can't go on anymore. When we play Norwich, if we play Norwich on Saturday, Antonio cannot be striker. We need to see something different now. It's gone on for far too long. And it's really annoying me, Gonzo.
Well, I can tell, mate. Hopefully you feel a little bit better.
I'll shut up now. Anyway, minute into the second half, it was 1-0. No.
What was crikey. Martinelli, wasn't it? Just too far. I mean, do you know what? He was creaming over the pass from Lacazette. I thought it was an okay pass. I think it's massively brilliant. I thought it was a big gap between the players, which it was an okay-ish pass. It was, it wasn't Tony Cruz or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? Having said that, Lacazette did play well, as I mentioned earlier. But what Martinelli was just too fast. Saw the gap there. which was, I think initially the gap was between Souček and Coufal, and then Dawson tried to run into it. So when you look at the final bit, it looks like it's Dawson and Coufal. Doesn't. He was quicker than all three of them. That's really the point. He got through and he finished well. He finished well, and I thought he'd played tremendously well. Actually, I thought the goal was on the cards. I thought it was a classy finish. No slight on Fabianski. I don't overly blame the players for that one particularly. He was just too quick, too far. They had much better players than us, you know, and we got done. We got done with that goal, and I just think, because actually I thought Coufal different. We'll discuss Coufal differently, but in Dawson in particular was in the process at that point of putting in the best central defensive performance you've seen this season. That's what he was doing. But it's unfair to ask your defenders to do that much. It was impossible that Dawson was going to replicate what he did in the first half in the second half. You can't. He's already saved a goal 3 times. You can't get to the end and think, oh, there's Dawson. He's going to stop them scoring 7 times with blocks and interceptions. Just never going to happen. And at some point, someone in front has got to keep the ball, offer some quality to stop them attacking. We couldn't do it. And actually, I thought we were going to come out really well in the second half. And because David Moyes I thought he was going to had to change something, as I mentioned earlier. Hadn't, and actually, I think it was probably Mikel Arteta. I was sort of a hybrid of Arteta and Antonio there. You know, the geezer, I mean, the Arsenal manager. Well, it was him who probably gave the most rousing halftime team talk.
He was going to win the whole game, Arteta. He was going to team top in 90 minutes. But he was going to take off at one point. Flap his arms a little bit more, and he might have actually come off the ground.
Yeah, he should have been booked actually. They should have booked him for sending the player back onto the pitch to pretend he's injured. That's a bit blatant. Anyway, not that I've got any complaints. I still think they should have won. I just think he should have been booked. We were flat-footed for that goal as well. We were going that way. They were going that way. And it was a fast player, so there you go.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good goal by Arsenal. I thought it was fantastic movement by Lacazette. And now and again, a team will play with a striker that drops in deep. And I think this is where we get outnumbered a little bit with Souček and Rice, because they've got their own men. And when a striker drops in, it's quite difficult as to who's marking him. And I think this is just Harry Kane usually does it really well against us. He drops in and gets away from our centre-backs, but not far enough back that Rice or Souček's there. So he's just sort of in no man's land for West Ham. And Lacazette's good when he drops in there. In the past, it was a simple enough pass, but the movement and the vision and whatnot is what makes this goal. The creativity from Lacazette and the Martinelli, good run, good finish. Fabianski could have done a bit better, I guess, but at the same time, I can't fault Fabianski too much. Just like I agree with you about what you're saying with Dawson. You can't ask for a centre-back to put up with that much defensive actions to do over 90 minutes and get everything bang on. It wasn't for Dawson and Fabianski, would have been 3-0 down at half-time. Good goal by Arsenal, really. And sometimes you've just got to hold your hands up and say that it was a good goal. Like you said, it was a goal that was coming. I just thought we might have held out a bit more than 2 minutes into the second half. And then roll the clock forward a little bit, going to the most controversial part of the game. Anthony Taylor gives a penalty. Coufal tackles / fouls Lacazette. Second yellow, red card for Coufal, penalty to Arsenal, which is saved by Fabianski. Great save as well. Pushed it well away from his goal. What did you make of the whole incident, though?
I would say just what I'd said about Dawson there. I think you just invite so much pressure at some point. You're going to ask the referee to make a decision. And if they're getting in the box, they're having 10, 20, 30 attacks, whatever it might be, at some point, something's going to happen. Do you know what I mean? It happened then. I thought he got it wrong. I thought the referee got it really wrong, actually. I can understand, I don't, me, I'll call it as it is. I will call it as it is. But he definitely got the ball. And it was a big decision to make. All right, now, yes, did he get the top of the ball? Yes, but he still technically got the ball. I said the other day when the thing happened with Dawson and, was it McNeil, Burnley? I said it wasn't a pen. It wasn't a pen. I thought Dawson kicked him. Do you know why I said it wasn't a pen? Neither of them were going for the ball. And I said that. The referee can do what he wants there. Coufal went for the ball and he got the ball. Might have got the top of it. I didn't even think the follow-through was that dangerous. I don't think it was that much. It's not like he followed through and then kicked him or anything like that. the play went down. But I mean, there was a lot of. To be fair, not just Arsenal. There was we were happy to do a bit of diving, and a bit of rolling around, holding our faces today as well. Like both teams were a little bit play active for my liking actually. But Coufal got the ball. They got the ball, and it's a big decision. So then a second yellow and a pen. Come on, it was a bad decision. But, and this is really important because Moyes was hanging his hat on the last game against Burnley on that decision. I said we didn't get a pen, we should have got a pen. And I said to you, Geo, this is really dangerous if we go away from there after that game. And Moyes is thinking the reason we didn't win that game against Burnley was because of that. No, because it would cover up. It's papering over the cracks. And this one, and it's going to sound really, really silly, but it's actually important that they scored that second goal because at one goal, because we haven't lost by a goal for more than a goal for over 40 games. I think it's something like that, right? If that had won 1-0, Moyes, is it what? Sorry,
42 now.
42 games. Thanks. If Moyes, otherwise Moyes would have been saying, "Oh, we lost that game because of the Coufal thing," and it wouldn't have been the truth. We lost that game for loads and loads of reasons. But yes, the referee made a horrendous mistake. Really.
I thought he had a horrendous game, actually. I think the first card he gives Coufal isn't a booking. I think he puts his arm across Tierney. It's not even a free kick as far as I'm concerned. But like you said, both teams were at it. We were at it as well. Souček had the worst dive in the game. We got a free kick out of it. Taylor was just bad tonight. But as for the penalty, I don't even think it was a foul. I thought it was a good tackle by Coufal. Does he get the ball as cleanly as he's supposed to? No, but what tackle does? You know what I mean? Like, how many tackles are timed to absolute perfection? Very few. I'm surprised you gave it. Watching it back on replay, I just don't understand how he's given it. It's not like sometimes when a defender touches the ball, but the ball doesn't move direction or something, or it moves in direction that the player's running, you can get why the referee's giving it because it looks like the attacker's got it in the defenders. But this one, it's not even that. The ball clearly shifts direction. It's quite clear Coufal's got the ball. And then they're talking about the follow through. Oh, bollocks. What do you want him to do? Just not have any legs after going through for a tackle. The geezer ain't Oscar Pistorius. He's not putting his tackle on and taking his legs off at his kneecaps. He's got legs. He's going to make contact with with Lacazette. Sorry. Fantastic tackle. And the worst thing is, it's not even on the night. You sort of, to some extent, you're sort of like, well, I felt we were going to lose anyway. This pen ain't going to decide the nature of the game, but it puts us down to 10 men, makes it a bit difficult to have a pop at them. But the worst thing is we've got implications in the next game. We're already squabbed in. Now we've got Coufal missing for a game as well, which was good to see, which I was criticised, boys, for the Antonio thing, and I've criticised him for a little bit more in this game. But it was good to see him bring on Harrison Ashby because it was almost like something twigged and thought, I've got to play you in the next game, so get out there and get some experience because you're starting against Norwich. I ain't got Ben Johnson. I ain't got Manfred. I ain't got Coufal now. You're my only right back. Get out there and get into it. It was just a ridiculous decision by Anthony Taylor. And normally when a penalty gets saved, you feel like there's a bit of justice done, and it's a great save by Fabianski. Normally it's got, I feel there was none of that feeling for me. I could barely celebrate it because we're down to 10 men now, and it's just like, well, okay, we're not down to 2, but we've lost the right back. We're man down. Antonio's now playing right back. Slaven Bilic is chipping his glass of wine wherever he is these days. He's probably thinking, there you go, I am a visionary. I saw Antonio as a right back, and it just, well, I was always say it removed any chance we have of getting back in the game. Funny thing is, I actually thought we played better with 10 men. I thought we actually had the ball for a little bit.
Well, Ashby played well when he came on, which helps, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, they made it 2-0. Not long to go. Gonzo counter attack. Benrahma lost the ball. Looking forward. Saka gives it to Smith-Rowe. Cuts inside. Lovely finish into the bottom corner. Game, set, match.
Yeah. That'll be Benrahma. I don't think Benrahma will be starting for a while after that, to be fair. Which is a little bit harsh because whilst I don't particularly want to blame the referee's decision for us losing that game, I don't want to blame Benrahma's pass for us losing that game. But you know what Moyes is like, but it was, it was crap.
It's not just losing that. There was another couple of 50-50s bottled, and then the free kick he took quickly. We were dying for a free kick. We got one. You can see Dawson away to come up, and he just touches it, and you're thinking, what are you doing? We've got possession on the halfway line. That was a rare opportunity for us to attack them, kind of thing. Anyway, it finished 2-0, Gonzo. While I click on this and say thank you to Doug, what do you think of the game?
Disappointing we didn't contest it, and that's what I asked for. That's what I want to do, and that's what the modern West Ham have been about over the last 2 seasons, about contesting games and making it tough for the opposition. And we really didn't make it tough for them there at all. It was a bit of a surrender, actually, and it was particularly with everything that was up for grabs with the top 4. It was quite clear. It was a slog. It was a fight. It was like a little mini final, if you want there. You know, he who wins stays top, whatever goes top 4. And we didn't treat it like that at all. And I think it's difficult. I will always accept, particularly a club like Arsenal, where they've got such good quality players, and particularly with somebody like, and that's not they've spent loads of money. They have, but the players they spent money on, ironically, are not a lot of them ain't in the team anyway. But actually, the youngsters coming through. But what he seems to be doing, Arteta, is he picks technical players. I don't know how much Odegaard cost, but did he cost that much different to Vlasic? I don't know.
Not much more. I could be wrong. I think he was around about the 40 million, but I could be wrong. But no, not much more.
Yeah, but it's just they've. So I understand they promote technical players from their academy. They buy technical players. They got a technical manager. They play it in a technical way. I totally understand that they will have more possession than us, Geo, throughout a game. To accept it, know it's going to happen, but that's all right. I don't mind. You know why? Because we're West Ham, and what we do is we got the robust stuff. We can sit back, we can soak it up, we can hit you on the counter-attack, and we can be deadly on the counter-attack. And not just that, we'll force a corner on a corner, we'll cause you all types of trouble. That's okay. So I will surrender the technical game because we got the fight, we got the aggression, we got the strength. We had none of it. We had absolutely none of it. What I won't accept is being out-muscled by Arsenal. I won't accept being outrun by them. I won't accept their fitness being more. I won't accept any of that because that's not about physical ability. That's not about technical ability. That's about desire. And they just had more of that today. Arsenal wanted that game more than we did. And when you put that together with their technical ability, they're going to win the game because they're very, very good. The best team won. That's what happened.
It's a hard one to take tonight, Gonzo. It was very un-West Ham-like, this performance, and it feels like a performance that's coming. I think that's what makes it worse. It's not a one-off anymore. I think you could go back a few games ago and say, bad day at the office, it's a one-off. It's not that anymore because there's too much of it happening, and when there's too much of it happening, it's consistency. You look for consistency in football, and we've got that at the minute, and it's not good things, and we're slowly creeping down the table, and we've been fortunate to stay in the top 4 for so long. But part of that has been because other teams have been getting games called off because of COVID. Tottenham are just behind us with games in hand. Man United are just behind us with game in hand and stuff. Yes, they've got to win that, but there's every chance that come January the 1st, we're going to be sitting 7th or 8th in the table, which is probably our true position for our squad. We have been punching above our weight. But it just feels like we're lacking that punch at the minute for whatever reason. You know, I used the word stale against Burnley. Tonight wasn't even stale. It was almost clueless at times. And it's difficult to watch because we've all been enjoying it, and rightly so. And listen, this could still be a really good season for us. You know, it's not a disaster. It won't take much to turn it around kind of thing. But tonight was a difficult one to take because sometimes there's a lot of positives to take from games. Even if you draw the game, you can still take positives out of it. There's not much for this evening's game. There's 1 or 2 players I think had a really, really good game. But you also need to have a little bit of faith in the manager to rectify what went wrong in that game. And I don't have faith in Moyes rectifying the Antonio situation because this has been a situation for games gone by now and it's still happening kind of thing. If Creswell's not fit for Saturday, we don't have any of our first choice back four starting against Norwich. Arsenal deserve to win tonight. We've admitted it enough. Arsenal were good tonight. They pressed us. We couldn't cope with their press at all. We couldn't handle it. We were trying to pass out at the back. We would pass it back until we're playing outside our own 18-yarder. Then it's got to the point where one of the defenders was like, I'm just going to have to welly this now because I've got no other option. Couldn't keep possession when we did. We didn't really make much of it. We're just poor all over the shop. Individual performers, I mean, take your pick, but individual performers.
Sorry, I've got to give this some credit. That's really funny. That's a good one. As if the song West Ham, I'm minuscule, everybody. Let's change it. That would be a bit of gallows humour. Individual performances. Oh, poor old Masuaku. Crikey. Even boys were saying before the game, he's not a left back, and he sticks him at left back, and he's got to play against Saka. My words. I wouldn't be surprised if he retires. I'm done. I've made me money. I can't play football. What
I
can I
felt
say?
sorry
Fabian,
for him. I felt
yeah,
like we
I
hung him out to
feel sorry for
drive a
him.
little bit. At half time, when I came on to try to go for a pee, and someone trolled the live chat, said Elise was coming on, and 2 people said they were trolling it, right?
Yeah.
But when they put it up, I generally said, Charlie, it might not be the worst idea to put someone behind ARSWHU and help him out a little bit. But we did, and we just kept him out there, and I felt a bit sorry for him in the end because, he was trying. He made some tackles. He did some good bits of play. The problem is, if an attacker runs at him 10 times in a game, he will skin him 5. If an attacker runs at him 4 times a game, he'll only skin him twice. So it's still the same ratio. It's still the same conversion rate, if you like. But the problem was Saka ran at him about 20 times in the first half. So just constant, just beating him. I felt sorry for him. But like you said, the manager said he's not left back. I'll play him at left back. And he basically said to Arteta, there's my weak spot if you want it.
Yeah, no, he did. Okay, Fabianski and Dawson, wonderful. I mean, wonderful. Really, really, really good. If I was David, if I was David Moyes, not sure it'd be just those 2, but there'd be a sprinkling of players. I'd probably turn around. And listen, you're right, by the way, about David Moyes has got to take, but we'll deal with that in the player ratings, all right? Because that's, but he's still got to give a team talk, even though he's culpable for some stuff. He's got to give a team talk, and actually, be people probably there'd be a handful of people. 2 I've mentioned, Diop as well. There'd be a handful of people. I'd say, right, you lot get out of here. You know what I mean? Go get showered. The rest of it. The rest of you lot stay in here. I want to have a word with you, and I'd read the right acts. The other ones. Fornals. I mean, we're looking at similar culprits here, actually. Fornals, Antonio. This is not good. Benrahma, when he came on, Lanzini couldn't impact the game. Although I felt him and Declan were at least trying to pass the ball as they do. I don't think he had the worst game, Lanzini, but we were just struggling so much to find some attacking cutting edge from somewhere, and it's just not happening. And I thought it was so bad. I looked at Antonio, and actively, as I said to you before, I thought he was being indulgent, really indulgent. Okay, I got the ball. I'm going to dribble now. Okay, mate, you're gonna lose it. You're going to lose it. My son was watching it with me. There's someone in my son's team that has the capacity to do that as well. And my son said, that's like such and such in my team. And I said, I can't. I just think
out him. I don't care if he's 12 years old. Out him.
He's a nice lad. He's a nice lad, but he does really dribble a lot. Yeah. He is greedy. He's a nice boy. And I'm sure Antonio's a nice boy as well. But it's just so indulgent. Okay, mate, now pass it. Okay, no, he's not going to pass it. So I noticed him being crap. My goodness. I mean, Fornals disappeared for large parts of that game in the attacking bit. Yes, I know he was getting back and having to help out. But I also thought... And the funny thing with Antonio is, in the end, even Moyes switched him away from centre forward. I mean, if Moyes doesn't know now, then crikey, I don't know what he does. You mentioned actually Fornals was up there at a point we had 2 left backs. I tell you, mate, there was a point. I was going down the right. There was a point we had 3 right backs. But actually, I saw Bowen, Coufal, and Antonio all there. I thought, oh my goodness. I thought it's really hard. Declan did try and drive the team forwards. In the first half, Souček was so deep. He was an auxiliary defender. He was a defender. I don't care. You might have put a CDM on him or a CM on him or something like that. I'm telling you, he was a defender. Second half, Moyes tried to push him up a little bit more, but it was painful. It was painful watching, Gio. Really, really painful watching. But well done, Dawson, and well done, Fabianski. Great save from Tierney. Penalty save. That's another save as well. You know what I mean? Well done, mate, Dawson. Yeah. Well done, fella.
I thought Dawson was incredible, to be honest with you. Blocking everything, diving in front of everything, heading everything. I thought Diop had a really good game next to him as well. You know, when Tierney had that shot that crashed off the bar, that comes down Lacazette, should have been knocking into an empty net, but Diop runs around and towers above and heads out. I thought them 2 were fantastic, throwing themselves at everything, but they shouldn't have to defend that much in a game. You know, they did 90 minutes of defending in 45 minutes in the first half tonight, and I thought both of them played really well. As for the rest of the team, below par, at best for the rest of them, including Jared Boyd, and it's difficult because at the moment, mine, and I imagine everybody's fantasy league team, right? I'm going to go off a tangent here, but I think you'll get what I'm trying to say. Everyone's fantasy league team's in the mud right now because everybody doesn't know who to transfer in. The players are missing games. You have to spend your points to bring players in to fit in your team. And then even then, people have brought in a Dennis from Watford for tonight, and the game's called off 2 hours. Then what the hell's going on? I've got no players. And I've got no points to buy players. FPL's all over the place. That's West Ham at the minute. It's like you're looking at the team thinking there's nobody to go anywhere. I've got no players to play there. I've got no money to bring in any players. I don't have the right scouting network set up to bring in players or something. But I can't play him because we don't know about him for whatever reason. It just feels like the squad, what felt like a real togetherness, and that's why that was our sort of USP, if you like, compared to other teams in the league, that we had this togetherness. It just feels quite fractured at the minute. Not necessarily the morale of the players, but it just feels like the partnerships are all broken. The partnerships that were working for us either aren't working or they're just gone. I would have taken Souček off in the second half. I don't think he was having a good game anyway, but I just thought it was the wrong game for him. When the game ain't physical, I think he struggles a little bit, and the game wasn't physical tonight. Partey and Xhaka can give it about, but they didn't have to tonight. Arsenal were very technical, very passy. I thought, let's get someone, Rice or Fernandes, or even both, in beside Declan Rice, so we can actually retain possession for a little bit. Every time we got it, it just disappeared just as quick, and it was a hard watch this evening. It was a real hard watch. It wasn't enjoyable, and it was quite the opposite. Actually, I've seen West Ham get beat by Arsenal many, many times over the years, and some of them you can almost take it because it's expected and you shrug it off. But tonight was just a bit more difficult than others. It stung a little bit tonight, actually. And I think it's because this performance has felt inevitable for a few weeks, and I feel like we've got off with it a little bit in some games. We picked up a point here or a point there or a win there to sort of paper over the cracks a little bit. And tonight, it doesn't feel like the cracks are showing. It feels like it's parted. It's just gone from a small thing to a big thing. But I'm hoping Moyes has got to use this as a way of changing up for Saturday against Norwich. You can't play the same team again. I get it. If you draw a game, it's hard to change the team completely because they've not done that badly. But I think we've done that a little bit too much this season. And now it's time for Moyes to change it completely. Try something new on Saturday. Do not do the same thing again, because if it don't work, then he's putting his own target on his own back, isn't he? I always say to your manager, has to live or die by his own sword. And at the minute, I don't like the sword David Moyes is fighting with when he's got Antonio up front, kind of thing. Some good performances tonight, Gonzo, but overall, pretty bad evening for West Ham and for most of the players. It just, I don't know. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Not really, mate. I'll get someone's wound me up in the chat, so I'll leave it there. I'm biting.
What's the name?
I'm not doing it. Not tonight. But what we were talking about earlier. Basically. So anyway, I'm not biting with it. In fact, I'm turning it up. I've turned it off. There you go. You can still see it, and people can still chat amongst themselves. You know what? I welcome the chat, Geo, particularly if it's even if it's a counter argument. Some say, actually, I've thought such and such had a good game. If you had a bad game, whatever. It's not a counter argument. It's a shut down of speech again. It's a shut up and stop talking about it. So I'm not. Anyway, there you go. Said I wouldn't bite a little bit, didn't I?
Yeah, so much for I'm not biting. I think
that's right. I would see him again. I've muted him from my end. So
yeah, it's just at the end of the day, we're only talking about the game, and if we win on Saturday against Norwich, happy days. It keeps us where we are. We've then got Crystal Palace around the corner, who've I think they finished a draw with Southampton tonight. We've got Southampton themselves around the corner. We've got some favourable fixtures on the horizon now, but we've got a massive cup game against Tottenham. I was almost sort of prepared to give up on the League Cup to some extent, to focus on the league in the Europa League. But I think we almost need that win now as a morale boost to some extent for the fan base. And tonight's just, it was coming tonight. From the first minute, the Arsenal goal was coming, but this loss and this performance feels like it's been coming. And we've got a small squad. We're paying for it a little bit, but it's time now to pay for it in January, so we don't have a small squad anymore. These experiments have sort of worked for a little while, but they're not working anymore. I miss lockdown West Ham. I'm hoping Boris Johnson announces a lockdown tomorrow so we can get lockdown West Ham back. They were good.
Well, someone actually said it in the chat. In fact, the same person that made the little joke that I popped up. But I like him. By the way, he's right, because that we had that break, and you're right, that hiatus that we had allowed us to sort of regroup. Anyway, I don't particularly want a lockdown. There's actually other solutions to this than a lockdown, but Moyes has just got to get in there and do it. The board have got to do it. A penny for Kretinsky's thoughts at the moment, because actually he's going to have to dip his hand in his pocket. So hold on a second. Hold on. We were third when I valued this club at 700 million quid.
Where's the guy that was scoring all the goals when I first
Absolutely.
Why are we not playing him anymore? Oh, we are. He's up there. Him, that one.
It's like a Christmas Carol. It's the ghost of Antonio.
he's been catfished. Kretinsky's been catfished, hasn't he? It's like when you have you on the old Tinder and you see this really hot smoking blonde and you turn up and she's not that photo from 5 years ago ain't quite what you got there, kind of thing. Kretinsky's got a bit of that, really. Look at this West Ham, the most informed striker in the Premier League. Oh, captain that's in an England squad. I'll have a bit of that. Yeah. And he's turned up and he's thinking, well, where are they all? Where's all these players? One's injured for the season. One's out.
That's a sore subject there, Gio. Don't go down that route.
What, catfished? Were you catfished?
Yeah. No, my 5 years old. She ate the one that turned up. Looked like she'd eaten the one that was in the profile. And Antonio. That's why it's not even Antonio. Me date.
I bet she could still move better than Antonio tonight.
A bit more mobile. Yeah, absolutely. She's doing a shift.
Right, well, we'll leave it there. I've got really itchy sore eye. I've been itching all show.
Yeah, because it's red. I can see it's bloodshot, mate. You're crying.
Watching West Ham is bloody painful.
Only on the one side, though. It's because half of him was hiding behind the sofa and won't watch. The side is not bloodshot. He didn't watch the game. It's the red side that saw the game.
I was watching Saka do ARSWHU every time. ARSWHU owes me a new eyeball, I think. Anyway, we're going to disappear. If you somehow enjoy this review, drop a like and subscribe to your channel. Hit 21,000 subs tonight. Hey! Keep subscribing, please. Myself and Gonzo will be back tomorrow with the Norwich preview. Patrons will be live in the morning with the player ratings. That should be fun. Catch you in a bit.